get us on the way. So we have our VC with us today. We really appreciate because he has left his busy schedule to join us. Let me introduce, although you shall be giving her all the time, we want to be with her the whole day and even tomorrow and all the time. Dr. Margaret Makero. There's another one I feel like saying there, Lusak. I don't know whether I'm correct. Yes, who has decided and accepted to be with us as our keynote speaker, the main keynote speaker during this conference. Let us appreciate our VC for the morning. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Makero, should be greeting us and telling us more. We appreciate them. Yes. So let me say that we are very delighted. We really thank God for planning, and the event is now taking on. I am Professor Veronica Nyaga, in charge of academics, research and student affairs. And this is one of our main activities from the core mandate of the university. We have three main activities or three main mandates. That is to teach and train the students, carry out research, and also outreach activities. So those are our core mandates, even in our performance contracting and also the strategic plan as all this. So we are calling this our 4th annual International Research Conference. And those who have been with us throughout have seen now we are moving on. During COVID, when things were so bad, we were able to do a very successful conference where we did the virtual. We had the international delegates, and it came out very well. So we realized that we can blend these activities. We can blend where we have presenters from all over the world, and for us who are physical here, and even this one. When we made the call, we said the venue is, we can be physical, Tharaka University, and also virtual. So still, I'm sure there are those who are doing it virtually. We have already received around 105 abstracts. Some are still requesting whether they can join the conference. And those who have asked me, I've told them, it's okay. Registrar, just keep that phone for me away. Yes, so so we have received a good number of abstracts, and like we said, we will do the book of proceedings when we receive the full papers. We are also going to strive now to come up with a journal for this university, because we can start by what we have, especially when we review the papers we have this time. We can have a committee that can move on. I'm sure that's how people start. So those of us who are going to present their papers, continue checking on them, because we are going to move on and come up with a journal from this time. So you have seen what we have as our theme: enhancing research and innovation for sustainable development in global environment. When we thought of this theme, we were looking at the way things are in the country today and also in the world. We were looking at the dynamics, the changes that are coming up. We were looking at the economic constraints that are facing, or what is facing the world to do, the wars, the political dynamics, wars like now we hear of the Ukraine and the Russia, which has also affected the economy. We were looking at something which is all over the world today, the climatic changes, which are affecting the world. So we thought So most of our, whatever we have received is directed on that. So we are going to learn. It's time of running, acquiring knowledge, and we are very much grateful that our keynote speaker, Dr. Margaret, accepted to be with us. She accepted to spend a full day with us. We are going to do discussions. And she's, when she's here, she's representing one of the largest organizations in Kenya, that is KARO, Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization, like that. She'll tell us more about it. And she's in charge of partnerships and linkages. So in brief, I'm trying to cut things short. What I want to say that we have a keynote speaker. We are looking forward to collaborate or partner with their organization. This is a young university. We have given a few briefs of this university, and we will desire to grow as researchers. Some of us who are in agriculture, those who are doing livestock, the sciences, she's going to guide us. And Dr. Margaret, we are just like children waiting to be fed and to get some motherly milk and move on. So we are really expectant because we have been looking forward to get grants, linkages, collaborations with the organizations so that our university can grow. Today, the government, like we've heard, universities have to do all this kind of work, get international grants or work very hard to collaborate, to get linkages for knowledge and also financial support. And knowledge is the most critical for us as a university. So we have a very experienced keynote speaker with us today. And even tomorrow we'll be having another scientist from Chuka University, Dr. Kadongo. I'm sure you know him. He has also been doing a lot in research. When I was telling him to join us, he was telling me as a research they are doing with people from South Africa. So when I thought of this conference, I would like us to have a mind of how we can work very hard to collaborate with the international bodies, national organizations, and so forth, and do good research that can help this country. The setting for our conference, we have this room and the other room, computer room. We would like the whole process to be blended, virtual and physical. And we have those who are, the director, I'm sure you've organized very well on the secretariat so that we have proper connectivity. ICT, Chacha and Kevin, I'm hoping you are set like that. So our VC, that's how we have set ourselves. And we are here so that you can also guide us, open this conference. We cannot go on without your blessings. Our VC has really supported us. This kind of an exercise is very expensive. We have been supported fully. We have all what we would want for this conference. We have, we are going to be fed. We are going to be fed in a very good way. Everything is taken care of. So our VC has fully supported one of our core mandates, that is to carry out this kind of dissemination of research findings. And our VC, we are very much grateful. Thanks a lot, and God bless you all. We'll now welcome our VC to open this conference so that we can move on. Welcome. Let us clap for our VC. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Nyaga, the Director Research and Extension, Dr. Obote, our DVC, Professor Veronica Nyaga, who is in charge of academic research and student affairs, our DVC, Professor Musalia, who is in charge of administration, finance, planning, and development, our keynote speaker, Dr. Margaret Makelo from Kano, our faculty, our students. You can see Mwanaidi, Mijikenda. They entertained us a lot during the cultural week. Mine is going to be very brief. First, I want to welcome all the participants to this conference, the participants who are here with us physically and who are watching us virtually. We are very grateful to have you in our 4th annual International Research Conference, because as a university, we have made it as a culture that every year we must bring scholars together so that they discuss new emerging problems, new emerging solutions, innovations, so that we can improve the life of the society. Tharaka University takes research very seriously, and if you look at our strategic plan, we have a strategic plan, we have a strategic objective on research, innovation, and outreach. That means, as a university, we are committed to carrying out research, getting the findings, and even disseminating through conferences and many other avenues. The theme for this year's conference is enhancing research and innovation for sustainable development in a dynamic global environment. And I think Professor Nyaga has expounded this very well. And as a university, we take sustainability as one of our core values, because sustainability, in a simple way, means doing development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In other words, the way we do things today must have a potential for a better tomorrow. The innovations we come up today must help us to live better in days to come. So that is why we say in our university, we think about sustainability. In a dynamic, many things are changing. We are going to technology and many other things. New diseases are emerging, like Professor Nyaga has talked about. We are faced with decreasing rainfall, but people must eat. That is our dynamic environment. So we must come up with varieties of seeds that are drought resistant. And in fact, if you remember, one of our areas as a university is dryland agriculture. And we are very happy that we have a key partner here, Kano. During the research week, we understood Mzee, who said that before it was called curry. So he was telling us he became a bit uncomfortable when the organization was given the name of a woman. But Kalo, from curry to Kalo. But we want to, now that she is here, before she goes, and I think that is why Professor Nyaga kept on telling me, we need this person. Before she gets out of here, we want linkages, we want partnerships, we want joint proposals for funding so that we can also increase the profile of our university. What has our university done to encourage research? One, we have a directorate, led by Dr. Obote. We have developed the enabling policies. We have a research policy. We have an IP, intellectual property rights policy. We have also a committee on research. We are trying to empower them. Every year we have been having trainings on writing fundable proposals. And I think we need to extend this and make it maybe in a year we have 2 such functions. Because as you can see, the funding in universities is decreasing. And we must, because we're in a dynamic environment, we must now decide where do we get that extra money from. And joint proposals are a major source of funding. Now, we have also an internal research funds kitty, which we give to our postgraduate students and members of the faculty. And as a university, we are going to continue increasing this kitty. So we want to develop the research aspect of the university by raising funds, having conferences, and so on. And also we have been carrying out an annual innovation week where we call our students and faculty to showcase what they have done. And I'm happy that a few of our students will be taking their innovations to the national level. And as a university, we are going to support them. Even if they want to go to the international level, we still as a university going to support them. Now, conferences are very important because of a number of reasons. Number one, they allow you to meet with your peers and you share your findings. As you share your findings, you get inspired to think even more, to innovate even more. You improve your communication skills. You socialize with your peers in your industry or in your area. So it is very important that we undertake these conferences. Number two, it also gives you an opportunity to publish. Once you have a well-written paper, you present it, it appears in the proceedings, you can still go further and develop that concept, and you send your paper to a peer refereed journal. Remember, in the university, without publishing, you'll not be known. You'll not attract funding. You'll not even be promoted. So it's very important for us to take the conferences very seriously. Then, the last one, it gives you an opportunity to identify people to partner with, people you can work with in future, people that you share similar research interests. People you can write collaborative grants. Conferences allow you an opportunity to meet people, to socialize, to benchmark. I remember one time when I was a student in the University of Witwatersrand in Norway, I presented a paper, and there was a researcher from Norway. He was called Klaus Abels. He really liked my paper, and he told me, now, I want you to be a PhD student in Norway. That is why I got a scholarship to go to Norway, just by presenting a paper in what? In a conference. It gives you an opportunity to network. So we started doing a lot of work with Klaus. Then Klaus liked Mr. Kanampio, who was a lecturer here. Then Kanampio is in what? In Edinburgh. He is pursuing his what? His PhD. It gives you an opportunity to network and to give you opportunities even to further your studies. So don't just come here and sleep. Talk to people online. When somebody presents, they'll always have their paper, their email, contact them. Talk to them, but don't start borrowing money. As is the habit of Kenyans. Say you want to collaborate, you want linkages, you want to prepare joint proposals, and so on. So I think I'll stop there because we have our keynote speaker, but I want to say that there's a lot of money for research out there. Like climate action, there's money. How do you position yourself? You hear Bill Gates was in Kenya. He's in Kenya, I think, still now. What are you thinking? When you see them talk to the president, what are they talking about? Are they talking about the environment? Are they talking about health? Are they talking about agriculture? See which area can you come in so that we collaborate and develop these joint proposals. So I'll stop there, but before I stop, I think Professor Musalia can say hi. you have a great opportunity to be given an opportunity by the VC. He works with animals. He works with animals. So why don't you come and say I for 2 minutes? Then thank
you. Yeah, first of all, let me not take it for granted. Let me thank the VC for giving me this opportunity to say hi. I'm sorry, I had some other commitments in the office. That is why I came slightly late. Maybe I'll start by saying good morning, everybody who is in this conference. What I can say, maybe if I'm allowed by the Vice Chancellor, is maybe just to give a small remark about research and its role in this country. What we should realize is that there is no way we are going to move forward as a country if we do not embrace research in our activities. In fact, that is why the country has empowered the university, mandated the universities to be also key players in the area of research, because they know this is where the knowledge is. The biggest knowledge in a country is supposed to be at the university. So the university also should be an institution that should be able to generate research. Research usually will guide policies in the country. We can only have good policies if we do good research. We don't want to come out with policies which later on we start saying these are not good policies. Such policies are usually not based on research. So we need to carry out research that will be able to enable us to come out with the good policies. The other thing I would like to share with you is that research is a very interesting area. In research, it is you who sets the goal. You decide on what to do. And how do you come about with this? You look around and see if there is any problem. So research is not done just for the sake of being carried out. No. We carry out research with specific objectives. We look at the problems that are affecting us so that we can be able to address them. So when it so some of the research, if you are not careful, they may not be relevant to our situation. That is why we have KALRO. KALRO is supposed to guide this country in terms of research, in terms of agriculture. We have the Research Council in the country also, which is supposed to give guidance in terms of the best research. Research, if you go in research like me, I have been in research for many, many years. In fact, from the time I graduated, I have never worked in extension. I'm a veterinarian by profession, but when I graduated, I have always been in the area of research. You feel nice, you feel at home. So I'm really encouraging the youngsters to move to research, and by so doing, you'll be helping the country. The way the VC has said, there is a lot of money for research, so try and move around and see how you can be able to get access to these grantors. These days, we are lucky. We have knowledge is just even within your reach, even on your desk. When you sit on the desk, the knowledge is there. You can be able to access anything. For us, when we were at university, there were no computers. By that time, And you can maybe just imagine how we used to communicate. These days we have a lot of technology whereby you can do things from very far. If you are building a house at home, there's no need for you to be at home there. But for us, we used to send money, and that money used to take a lot of time. This is the type of technology that we need in this country because it makes things to be done in an easier way. Otherwise, Vice Chancellor, thank you very much. Maybe I did not introduce myself. My name is Professor Levi Musalia. I'm a veterinarian by profession, and I'm also a professor of animal nutrition. Otherwise, let's have an interactive two-day meeting so that we can share the information. Thank you, Vice Chancellor.
Okay, thank you, Professor Musalia. So, with my remarks and with these few remarks, I want to declare this conference officially open. I'll now invite Professor Nyaga to introduce to us the keynote speaker for today. Thank you.
I think he was a bit busy. We also have our registrar. You can, from there, just say your area, your department, your name, like that. That's how we started. Yeah.
Good morning.
Okay. Yes, that's very good. We are also expecting delegates from other institutions and universities also. So I'm sure as registration goes on, we shall be alerted on that. Our VC has also mentioned about the Bill Gates. Yesterday we were trying to connect with Kevin ICT, and we got to know that we can connect at what time? You measured the time. Around 6, isn't it? Yes, so we shall be liaising to know that. We can see how we can also get information on his presentation. So for all of us, we are moving on well, and like it has been said, we now have the blessings of the VC to start. According to our program, although I've also noted, Director, there is something left on our theme there, dynamics. I was trying to read. So it should read very clear, looking at the program. So after the official opening, we are going to have our keynote speaker, who is now going to share with us the area on partnerships and linkages in research in a dynamic global environment. That is the title of the address from the keynote speaker. And of course, after we have interacted that way, we shall have the group photo session. This is very important for all of us. It also helps us to get to know how we are moving on. Then from there, we shall have the health break. We would like to request our VC to be with us, even the whole day, but at least for this time, or you'll weigh how much time he can give us for the day, but would request that he can stay around at least to guide us a bit as we move on. So let me take this opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Margaret Makero. Dr. Margaret Makero is the Director, Partnerships and Business Development, CARO. We've been hearing about CARI, and like our VC has said, our niche area in this university is on dryland farming. We also have mining, of course, water irrigation, all those things. This university is located in the Aso areas of this republic. So our keynote speaker is going to enrich us a lot on kind of linkages or partnerships or research, especially touching maybe on dryland farming and livestock like that. She's well versed with this, very well experienced in the area of research. CARO being one of the best organizations in Kenya in agriculture. So we are very grateful actually for her making it to join us to share with us our knowledge in this area. A very experienced person, and members, let us be ready to learn and to interact like we have been told. So, Madam Daktari Margaret Kaidri, we want to welcome you. We'll do the presentation. I hope everything is set, and let us prepare our crap for her so that she can feel she's at home and she's there to give us the knowledge. Members, let us give 3 heavy claps for Dr. Margaret to give a presentation. 1, 2, 3. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Welcome. Yes, so how am I going to be helped? So good morning, everybody. Yeah, as he sets the presentation, I wish to thank Professor Nyaga. Actually, we met this morning. We had never met, we were just talking on phone, and all these preparations for me to be here. As she has said, I'm Margaret Makelo with a PhD in plant breeding from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I'm the Director in charge of Partnerships and Business Development at the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization. I'll give you an overview of that. Before that, I was the Assistant Director Partnerships, Assistant Director Technology Transfer, Assistant Director Program Officer Outreach, and the Research Scientist Plant Pathology. That is where I have my master's and my bachelor's in Bodzu. So I have 30 years working with KALRO. I've never worked with any other organizations. I only move out when going for studies and back to KALRO, and I believe that's where I'm going to retire. Yeah, so it has been really a nice experience. And as Prof said, you know, when you are seen out there, then chances are that someone will pick on you. So we needed to establish a directorate or a department of research in the Ministry of Agriculture. So I was sent there on secondment, and I was the director knowledge management. So as you grow, as you get experience, as you interact, then you become anything, because you've been given the powers to do what appertains to that degree. So long as you know how to read and write, you just need to be smart. And Prof, I don't know who gave you my other life. I don't like talking about it, but yeah. So I'm a mother of 2, a lawyer who is with Bishop, and a diplomat who is with Foreign Affairs, and my husband is the Governor Bungoma, Ken Lusaka. So I'm also a first lady. So I can be Her Excellency, depending on what is happening at that point in time. You're sure? Yeah, so it's indeed an honor to be here and to share with you about KALRO. And this is one of the few conferences I've been a guest speaker. One we were in Mombasa, and I think I've interacted with some of you during the Kenneth conference in Mombasa. I represented my peers. I'm also on the board of KAGRIC. I think, Prof, that is where you're very familiar with, who are in breeding. I represent the peers on that board. And with time, I make connections with friends. And I've been, I was the pioneer gender officer in KARI those days. So we were the ones who are ensuring that when you undertake any research, you have to engender it. The proposal has to have that component of gender aspects before it is passed. Then being young, I thought gender thing didn't have any swag. So I decided to stick with being a plant pathologist. So I was a plant pathologist for 15 years, went out for my studies, and then now I got my PhD in plant breeding. You know, it had swag, you know. And my work was on pigeon pea, which is also a dryland crop. And I was looking at cytoplasmic male sterility as a way of breeding for the hybrids of pigeon peas. So these interactions give us all an opportunity to think beyond the box, isn't it? And anything you do, do it the best way you can, so that today when I'm standing here as a partnership director, I am a partnership director, and that's what you will see about me. Tomorrow when I step out there to go to the greenhouse and start doing my crosses, then I'll be the plant breeder. And then when I go to Bungoma and I wear my gele, I'm the first lady. So I was given this challenging topic to present. And from the remarks by the VC, DVC, and both the DVCs, I realized that actually there's nothing new I'm going to tell you. Just do what you are doing and do it bigger. And with that, therefore, I'll just take you through a short, and you can stop me where you think we can have a discussion. So we'll look at the KALRO overview, so that how it changed from a man to a woman or whatever. And then we also look at the basic concepts of partnerships, linkages, and what is this dynamic world. She did that part for me, I don't have to belabor. What is the importance of partnerships? The approaches and process of establishing partnerships, the pitfalls of partnerships, because not everyone is a straight line. What are the policy documents that we have to remember every time, so that we don't find ourselves on the wrong side of the law? And therefore, I'll share with you the KALRO achievements that should provoke you to find your way forward. So, KALRO is an umbrella body that brings together the following former organizations. We had KARI, we had the Tea Research Institute Foundation, we had the Coffee Research Foundation, and the Kenya Sugar Research Foundation. These are the institutes that were put together to form an organization called KALRO. And it was through the State Corporations Act 7 of 2013. So KALRO has 16 commodity or thematic research institutes located in different parts of the country. And currently, I think this is a bit old, we have 2,754 staff, but I think now we are about 1,500 because of natural attrition and retirement, and people getting greener pastures. And then we have 766 research scientists, out of which we have about 173 PhDs, 318 MScs, and 275 bachelors, and the rest are support staff. So this is the distribution of the 16 institutes. So you can see they are well distributed in the country. So every part of the Kenya, every boundary, has an institute or a center located within that area, so you can't say that you will miss out on anything. So this strategic location enables us to reach out to our farmers and other stakeholders. And these are our broad mandates: promote, streamline, coordinate and regulate research in crops, livestock, genetic resources, and biotechnology. We also do the same on crop and animal diseases. Then we ensure expedite equitable access to research information, resources, and technology, and promote the application of the research findings and technology in the field of agriculture. All of us are in this. We are doing this at different levels. Now, these are the types of collaborations that KALRO undertakes. We have partnerships. We have linkages, which we establish through MOUs. We also have contracts. We enter into agreements. We also coordinate value chain platforms, or we participate, and innovation platforms, and other forms of collaboration as need arises. Now, our main area of the way we do collaboration or interlinkages is through the value chain approach. And that allows us to establish an innovation platform on a value chain. I hope it is clear. You are familiar with the value chain approach and the innovation platform approach? If we have a crop, we have a cow, and we say that dairy is our value chain. Along the value chain of dairy, we have people who make cans, those who make machines for milking. We have the milk processors, and we have those ones who sell. Now, we realize that for this dairy value chain to be effective, then we need to increase the amount of milk. But what is the challenge of increasing the amount of milk? It is because we don't have the right feeds. So how do we make the right feeds? That is where we establish our innovation platform. Who are these people that we will bring on board to ensure that we have enough feeds to give to the cow, to give us quality milk that the other people can take and bring the cans and whatever. So it is a specific problem solving on a value chain that helps us establish an innovation platform. We can still talk about that later. Now, Prof, you told us about the areas that we wish collaboration, and I'm putting this out here for you, that KALRO, we collaborate in terms of public-private partnerships, that which we promote collaboration of research and industry framework through application of generated research knowledge into enterprise. Because we are looking at research for commercialization, not just research for knowledge. Learning and capacity building, we conduct trainings to farmers to maximize output and quality of their produce. This includes, but not limited to, good agricultural practices, post-harvest handling and marketing systems, partners to share knowledge and lessons learned in their respective experiences in dealing with the farmers and their agricultural produce, which also happens during our biannual conferences that we normally host. And then we do research together in terms of collaboration. We develop and partner in joint research programs. You fit there. We also mobilize resources together by writing joint proposals that we also sometimes encompass public and private sector, so that everyone is on board and we don't have something that will stop the wheel turning. So what are partnerships? This is something that is already so familiar to you people, and just being repetitive because I need to spend some time here. Otherwise, I should have stopped on the last slide. Just like any other relationships, they are organic. That is, they are alive, yeah? And they evolve, that is why it's the organic or alive, and change over time depending on the common interests or issues that bring partners together. And it has to have several levels of trust. There's the constellation of leadership and commitment at particular moment, the immediacy of issues that are their focus, the resources that are available to support their efforts and the shifting priorities of the respective partners. So that is a very long definition of partnerships. Then we look at linkages. We'll come back to partnerships in more detail and other aspects of that. Then I thought I should just mention about linkages. And this is where we focused more when we were in the early 80s and 90s, when we were also doing the research. And we realized that it was not working well because of the top-down approach. So linkage mechanisms are used to channel information between groups and to coordinate required tasks in the process of getting relevant technologies to end users. So who is this person that will take our technology to the end user? Then we try to link with that one. In the process, these linkage activities help to improve resource use by avoiding the duplication of effort and ensuring that critical tasks do not fall through the institutional cracks. This becomes very apparent, especially in the ASAL areas where you have many NGOs operating and some masquerading to be the research bodies or extension bodies, taking out a message that is not well crafted, that is not right. So when we link up with this, then we avoid that kind of assuming that they know or they don't know, and we let them mislead our stakeholders. Organizational and managerial linkages exist, and this one we did a lot. I'm sure some of you might have been liaison officers, creating an office of liaison, so that we strengthen the way we do things. So on organizational and managerial linkages, we have formal merger of research and extension at the broader system level, the merger of specific units within research or extension, creation of new positions, units, or permanent committees, such as a research extension liaison officer. These are the basic principles of ensuring that you maximize on the resources that we have. Then we also have research extension joint planning and review activities, such as conducting the RRS or the PRS. Those were very popular in the early 80s, 90s. This one can result into joint priority setting, adaptive research, or pharma systems research. But I said it had its own challenges. And that doesn't mean that we are not going to use the different parts of these systems to enrich our approach to research and extension. Oh, thank you. So Prof. Nyaka put out very clearly on why we thought should be this dynamic environment. What is this? And we have the technological advancements. We have the artificial intelligence. We have Zoom. Some people are watching us now. Some people could not have done before. And therefore, is it making it cheaper, more efficient, or more complicated, or are we losing out some people along the way? We have the smartphone, the SMS, we have the Twitters, we have the data simulations, we have mechanization in agriculture, even in research. Then COVID came and gave us a new normal. How differently are we going to do things? Because the 2 years we look like we got stuck. And therefore, we had to think quickly and see how to move forward. Then the climate change is with us here. And I don't know if the university has received some relief food, because Tarakaniti is in the category of... Then we have, because of these changes of climate, of wars and peace, and advancement in technology, we have international policies that we come together and set the protocols, we have the declarations, and therefore also we have the SDGs. All this influence what we do, and therefore we should be on standby to see what has changed, and therefore how are we going to move along other than getting stuck in the way we do things, the normal. However, the initiatives and ideas have to emerge from existing resources in the innovation system. That is the existing researchers or research environments. So we look at Tharaka University. Hence, the emergence management, organization, and development of research environments are as vital as the political and the economic infrastructure surrounding them. So as we are seated here, you must already be thinking of something. What am I going to do? This paper has produced something. How do I move forward? So individually, we can generate so many other step forward arrangements and research and partnerships just from the papers that are being presented today. So several definitions have been given, and to shorten the one on the first slide, is a partnership. Partnership is a voluntarily collaborative venture between two or more organizations that pool resources in pursuit of common objectives to achieve clearly defined goals. It has happened a lot as CALRO and universities and other international organizations. Some grants some grants dictate that you can't submit a proposal as an individual institution or organization. So if it's a university, then you have to have a research organization depending on your goal. You have to bring in another independent organization. But you write together because you have a common goal. And that is when now it will be considered there. So my name is all over the place. Everyone telling me, oh, bring your name to represent CALRO. Then some die a natural death, others we are continuing. But we give it we give it a chance to see what can happen and what can fall along the way. So it is a two-way cooperative relationship. That's another definition. Sharing the complementary resources of various partners in terms of finance, skills, technology, information, knowledge of particular realities, and thus power in order to fulfill their objectives. So I can see the ICT department here, and if there is something you want to do, you come to CALRO. We have the big data platform, and World Bank put in a lot of resources, and I think it's one of the best that we have in Kenya, and it's accessible. And anytime you need any service by the individual ICT expert, or just coming to use the infrastructure that we have in CALRO. And therefore, we look at the common objectives and goals, the shared risk and mutual benefits, contributions from both that are all partners, shared authority, responsibility, and accountability. So this one teaches us not to be selfish, that hii ni yangu, so mimi nafanya peke yangu, then you will not go far. Now, why do we establish partnerships? In CALRO, I like this slide. We know that we have low farm productivity. What are the problems? What causes this low farm productivity? One of them, for example, we have inadequate adoption of technologies. So we have really generated them. We have done a lot of research. A lot of finances have gone in this. Nobody's picking them. We have degradation of our natural resources. We have the floods. We have the deforestation. We have the loss of the soils. What can we do about this? Moisture stress, that is drought. Climate change has really exacerbated this. Then we have diseases, both in livestock and crops. Then we are talking of over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture. We have striga weed. We are now managing it, but it was. And then we have now low soil fertility. Now, when we look at Tharaka University, then what is the main issue that we want to tackle on our looking at our objectives and our key thematic areas in our strategic plan? What areas do we want to focus? And therefore, if we are able to identify the cause of that main thing, then that will now enable us to look for specific partners so that we work together. That is where it starts. So the successes of partnerships have been out there, and we, like now if you look at the UNEP, over the past few decades, increased recognition has been given to the important role played by the partnerships in addressing global challenges. Partnerships offer a mechanism to foster such joint action, as well as an opportunity for non-traditional actors to become involved in the work of the United Nations and to contribute towards the international environmental agenda. That is what Prof said. If you are doing something good, people will come to you. People will volunteer the way you have seen KALRO, we are doing very well, and you've said, we want to work with KALRO. So out there, then you will be able to partner, and another partner will introduce you to another. And let me tell you what happened. The reason why I'm here is we are having a partnership with the U.S. Arkansas University, and one of the professors at Chuka University, we interacted on the platform. We have not met physically, by the way. And because of the interaction, then he proposed my name to Prof Nyaga. Then Prof Nyaga called me, then I'm here. So from this partnership and the linkage, I'm meeting her for the first time, but I've not met Prof whoever who introduced me to her. Yeah? So all these things happen because of the partnerships that we establish, and therefore we'll be out there and attracting others to come on board. So the reasons for engaging in partnerships include achieving synergies through joint efforts, enhancing capacities and policy support, and targeting transformational change and strategizing long-term partnering. High-quality research and effective dissemination of knowledge can only be achieved through the establishment and implementation of linkages, collaborations, and partnerships with strategic goals, regional and international institutions. So this other part of the slide was looking at trying to analyze the problems, the problem of, like, for example, the low soil fertility that I mentioned earlier. And it could be, why is it that our technologies are not being taken? And then we look at it. It could be because of inefficient value chains, a lack of concern for value chain processors and actors, market dysfunctions and poor infrastructure and food distribution, lack of value addition, bulkiness to high transport and transaction costs, weak linkages between research institutions, industry, input suppliers, transport markets. There has been a mismatch between research outputs and expected or intended impact. These are some of the things that, as you open up on which kind of partnership do we want to establish with KALRO, then these are some of the things you look at and say, okay, this is the right person. And pooling resources garners the biggest impact, increases the bottom line, expands the reach of projects, and can enhance an organization's image and credibility. If you work in isolation, in my village we say you could be a night runner or a witch. You know, those are the ones who operate alone. But if you are with people, then you attract even more people to come to you so that you work together. So, when you say that KALRO can be a partner, what do you expect to find in a partner? Members of a partnership retain their separate identity, but are committed to ensuring that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Can KALRO appreciate that? Can KALRO embrace that, to be a partner with Tharaka? Because you want your identity. We don't want to come and swallow you. Neither do we want you to swallow us. But we can grow together. Partnerships may encompass a broad array of arrangements that range on a continuum from informal associations or networks to formal legal agreements. Partnerships between government and voluntary sector organizations have traditionally been largely, but though not exclusive, limited to contracting or specific tasks. So it is a loose or concretized way of working together that will determine the level at which you enter into that partnership. A partnership will generally, for a specific purpose, for example, developing joint professional development programs or jointly running specific projects. They may be made with reciprocal or specialist associations. This one becomes very important when there is that aspect of somebody taking advantage of you and therefore use you. Like for us, one time we felt we are technicians going to the field collecting data for someone to give us a lunch allowance, and then they go away with all the data, they publish, and we don't appear anywhere. So how are we going to look at this and ensure that we retain our dignity and therefore be able to work together as two parties, but with a common goal? That becomes the bottom line. So in successful partnerships, all participants contribute and gain something. They all have a stake in the process and the outcome despite the differences in their individual inputs and interests. So agreements between partners should ensure that there is a clear understanding of the partnership's objective, the role and the responsibilities of each party, and the commonality or potential divergence of their interests. In addition, the contribution and work of each party should be acknowledged wherever appropriate, so that you are not the technician that I talked about. You are taken for granted, but it depends also on how you handle yourself. If you come and you are not strong enough, then we can manipulate you and take advantage of you at little or no cost. So relationship with partners may be developed at different levels. We have the local community, so don't ignore those CBOs at the county level. Agriculture for us is devolved, so we have to be very keen on how we are going to partner with the counties at national level, because there's a lot to tap from the community in the region and the global. We have so many international organizations out there, and the main objective of the partnership may vary at different geographical levels or arena. So it still just takes us back to what is the issue that we want to handle. So while partnerships on a local level may focus more on the strengthening of grassroots participation, partnerships on a national or regional level might have a larger potential for multiplication of results and political influence. And that is why Bill and Melinda Gates is around, because these are the international and global relationships that he is trying to encourage between countries, globals, the organizations. And he visited the University of Nairobi. I know next time he will visit Tharaka University, because he will be having something to show. So the partnership may be long-term or short-term. So, Madam VC, Prof. Nyaga, you told me about we want to establish partnerships. Now, by the time you say you want to establish partnerships with KALRO, you should have used your own way of knowing who KALRO is. You're not looking for a friend you don't know, isn't it? Yeah, so what do you know about KALRO that has attracted you to want to have a partnership with? And therefore you need to have compatible visions and values. What are the visions and values of Tharaka University? The partnerships is based on active dialogue, mutual trust and accountability, openness, commitment, and respect for each other's autonomy, integrity, and identity. Am I representing KALRO enough? Do I look like I'm showing all those values or characteristics in the second bullet? Can we continue, or now you say apana KALRO apana? Am I representing KALRO well? For you to continue beyond me, and therefore look at how we are going to work with KALRO. So partnerships are context specific and must adapt to local conditions with respect to values, economic, social, cultural, and political conditions. So we look at the Governor Tharaka Nithi, then look at the ASAL areas, then see how we are going to bring on board Katumani and the Embu research, and also Garissa, because those are the ones in the ASALs, and what is this that we can offer Tharaka, and what is the culture here? Do you talk to farmers, or women sit down or sit under trees on the other side? And which language, or how do you communicate with the community? And how do we interact with the Tharaka University and the Calro? Which way do you like doing your things, so that when we go there, you say, here we don't do things like that. Are we analyzing all those things? So after that, then we will be already you'll have thought of, okay, which are the projects that we can now look at that will establish this partnership. What are these low-hanging fruits? You don't have to start so big, you can start small. And that is why you should have invited Calro to make a presentation in this conference, because we have a lot of research outputs there that scientists can share on this platform to benefit the community, and at the same time give us an entry point to the partnership. So as I said, it's a dynamic interactions, they change depending on the external factors, and therefore we need to continually assess the relationship that we establish, and the respect must be there, and we have to support, we have to have a supportive attitude and approach that aims at strengthening each other's roles. Varying access to resources and authority may create relationships of inequality between parties, and thereby a traditional donor-recipient relationship. I know this one is a common one. Tharaka University. Hii vitu ni ya Tharaka. Even the farmer, if you're working with a farmer group or a farmer in particular, see vitu ya Tharaka. Even when you come and set up a trial or an experiment in the Calro field, hii vitu ya Tharaka. So, or hii vitu ya Tharaka wacha walete pesa yao ndio wafanye hivi vitu zao. You know, I've been in this world long enough, and we've gone to a field where a farmer tells you, see vitu yenu ya Kari. They have not harvested, they have not weeded, and they don't try to get involved. That is why we came to working with them as partners and minimize linkages. Because the moment you're just linking, then there is no really such serious commitment. But when it's a partner, then there is an incentive for you to be in that partnership. So what is this incentive that you will bring on board for Calro to be attracted? And what will Calro see and in Tharaka as an incentive to see what can encourage the partnership? So this one have already talked about it. So I don't need to go through that. Then after you have agreed that yes, we want to collaborate with Calro, then the common one has been happening is writing an official letter. And this is one of the letters that another institution or organization wrote, requesting that we have seen you have this, as we have this, and therefore we want to formalize our relationship so that we work together. And then they have already even made it very clear. We will then consider drafting an MOU and other required paperwork to document that collaboration. So this letter comes to my desk, because these were the preliminaries everyone will be doing out there. It comes to my desk, then now even me, I go back to the presentation that I've just made. Who are these? What are they bringing? So unafanya groundwork on them so that you are not dealing with the criminals and the conmen. There are so many in this world. Then when I'm sure that it's a worthwhile partnership, then I inform my DG. Then my DG will now give me the go-ahead and therefore start interacting with this partner. I'll be back and forth explaining where we are. If there's something not clear, I go back to the management, and then even them, sometimes you bring some issues and they say, no, this is not how we want it, and then we say, take it or leave it, or let's come to a common ground. So that commitment of discussing and analyzing the different organizations will give you an opportunity to see how you can seal that partnership and therefore work through together, whether it's long or short term. So these are some of the things that you need to remember. You said you have the strategic plan. So everything will start there. Your strategic plan have aspects that you want to undertake with KALRO on the key result areas. Do you have these policies in place that will enable you collaborate and have partnership with us? KALRO, we have them. Then you draft an MOU. It normally comes from the person who wants a relationship with us. Unaniomba, ndio nikwambie nitakupea hii ama sikupi. So it's you to start. And then now, when we have the draft MOU with the other aspects that we have talked about, the problem we want to solve, the strength you are bringing on board, what you want to tap from the partner organization, all those discussions you go forth and back and forth. And at that point, because we are getting into an MOU, our legal officer comes on board when we now introduce the draft MOU. So we have our legal department, so our legal officer sits now from that point. And therefore, they'll make sure that the legal language is clearly put in the memorandum of understanding. And therefore, these are some of the key aspects that we have already talked about, have been brushing through them. And yeah, they're just the same. The excitement made me just jump and talk about the successes. Now, we don't live in isolation. How familiar are you to the Kenyan Constitution 2010? Because that one has to be clearly understood in any project that you want to undertake, so that you are not accused of anything. You are within the law. Are you aware of Vision 2030? We had the MTP 1 to 4. 3, 4 are together now because of the other challenges, political challenges we had. So how are you aligned to the Vision 2030? In agriculture, we have the ASTGS 2019-2029. It's a 10-year strategy, the Ministry of Agriculture. This one guides even now what we do in KALRO because we are a saga under the Ministry of Agriculture. Are you aware of the Sustainable Development Goals? Because they have to appear in your introduction of what you want to do. Are you aware of the Agenda 2063? Are you aware of the East African Community Vision 2030? Because now we are going regional. Are you aware of this East African Industrialization Strategy 2021-2032? These are some of the documents we just bring and we keep them somewhere. But this is so that we can refer to them. And when we see that there is a regional partner that we can approach, then we know exactly what we are looking for in that particular document. So we quote that one, they feel very nice. Okay, I mentioned the strategic plan. Is it clear what we have? Do you need to review it? And now remember, we have the plan. You know the plan? The plan. There's just something called the plan. If President Ruto came here and you said you don't know the plan, he will walk away without talking to you. That is the manifesto, the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, the plan. You have to be politically aligned to tap on these things. Na kuna pesa mingi iko huko kwa plan, so mkijipanga vizuri, mnaweza ngoa huko pesa mob. And then we look at the CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plans for Tharaka and other counties where Tharaka can work with. You have to look at their CIDP so that you align accordingly. Then, of course, the line ministry policies and others, the Ministry of Education. I don't know who the other line ministry is for Tharaka or for the universities. And then what we normally put at the door is our university charter or the charters that we have. Because even in Calro, we have cascaded the charters from the secretariat to the different institutes, so that it is very easy for those institute directors to initiate a discussion, and then now, before even it comes to the secretariat at the Calro headquarters. And then the performance contracts. What is this in your performance contract? From your strategic plan, as it cascades, up to when you feed your line ministry. So because of doing all this, these are some of the partners that Calro is and has worked with. In the public sector, we have the counties, we have even in the transport sectors, we have the traders, we have the IARs, the International Agricultural Research Centers. We have there are many, so they appear on both sides. We have the development partners because Equity gives us insurance, GIZ gives us funds, USAID, even the laptop I'm using, we were given by USAID. Then you have the JICA on matters mechanization, Rockefeller Foundation, IDRC on matters gender. Depending on what you have on board, then we have NGOs. We have the KENAF. KENAF is a farmer organization, kubwa. We have Africa Harvest. They want to take out our technologies, the BioVision. So who are these partners that you think Tharaka has? If you have not listed them in your strategic plan, then you need to go back and you list them exhaustively so that you don't miss out on any. And in Calro, that is normally like a third of the strategic plan. It's just leading, showing the partners we have and what we can get from them. Yeah? So that now when we approach them, then we know who you is a partner, and therefore let's speak on this aspect that we can work with. And that is why it has put Calro on the world map. Because of the kinds of partners that we have been able to embrace. And some of us paying for our studies, like I'm a beneficiary of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for my PhD. We were the rich kids of Bill and Melinda. And because our notebooks were these laptops. So kakipotea, unaenda unapewa ingine mpya. Hakuna maswali. We were the rich kids. And when yesterday he was meeting our bosses, some of us were mentioned as the beneficiaries of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You know, the training, you are very rich, you have some money. Ukiendanga hii masomo and you have a scholarship, your scholarship itakupea dili apart from the degree. So you come from there, you are able to have a nice car. You build a house, a better house, you upgrade, unanunua plot, you know, something like that. Yenye utauza ama utaka develop, you know. So there's so many benefits beyond the organization that as an individual you can get, and then you get international exposure, so that if they're looking around, mopping up the graduates from the Bill and Melinda Gates, they will look for us, picking us, wekuja. Then you go around the world, seeing things that you thought unaonanga tu kwa views as. But there are all those challenges I talked about, so that when I was talking about the successes, then you have the other things or the challenges that can come with partnerships, the power imbalances. We look down upon you, watoto tu wameanza miaka kidogo iliyopita. Sisi Calro, we started in 1963, you know. We ilianza 1963 na bado iko. And the 99% of guys here were not yet born. And therefore, nyinyi mtatuambia nini? you know, that kind of thing can happen. Or sisi hapa ni maprofesa, huku kwenu mko tu ni watu tu wa bachelors. That power imbalance can come from any aspect. Kama sisi ni wazee, nyinyi ni watoto, in terms of just age, not experience. Overreach resulting from overly ambitious or unrealistic objectives and expectations. If we started by saying, what are the expectations from this conference? Kila mtu si anaandika something. But when we are analyzing them, then we are not objective in terms of saying, hii inawezekana ama hii haiwezekani. Then we leave them there. So wewe utaenda ukijuanga tu hii kadro, watatuwekanga kwa safari zao, wakienda Tharaka, kutembea huko, wataenda na sisi, watatupea, watagawia gari moja. When in reality haiko, then you get disillusioned and say, this is a bogus partnership. When actually we lied to each other and even lied to ourselves. And that is where we have the conflicting or hidden agendas. Wanted to take advantage of them so that they collect data for us, we publish, we become professors. Difficulty in achieving consensus due to disparate or too generic membership. Now this is how the VC will help us with the HR department and the various departments within the university to pick the right people to work. Then we have the bureaucracies. When our bosses sometimes realize that hii ni kitu mzuri nakuja, they start interfering. You want to move, he's not there to sign, he's not there to attend the meeting, to give guidance. Mnangoja miezi 6, the partner is calling, then you look like when con. Ama hata wewe hata si wewe ndio utakana kuwa in charge. But these are the things that happen. Then there is the overload of information or management infrastructure. Again, just provide the information that we need, not everything. Because we don't need everything to do a small thing. And then we have the bloodlines of accountability. If you don't have clear ways of who will do what at what stage, then are you doing your part? Yes. If you are not doing, what happens? We put our small bylaws that will guide us in moving forward. So, Kadro, we have done all those things, and I'm proud to share with you some of the successes. We have over 200 MOUs signed with the county governments, CGIRs, private companies, CBOs, media houses, including TV. We normally have this one on Smart Farmer on KTN. We have Kilimo on KBC, and we have contributed to Shamba Shape Up. We work together. They tell our technologies out there. We have established linkages with private sector for fabrication and supply of appropriate agricultural machinery and equipment. JKUAT has come in very strongly. Koika has been very strong on this. Then we have the use of unmanned aircraft. That we have the drone with Fahari Africa. This one is, they're going to help us now collect data from the field, but not necessarily transport something heavy because the equipment is, the drone bado ni kadogo. And then we have been contracting out growers, especially for cassava planting materials. Then we have had with universities, and Tharaka is not here. I hope in the next presentation it will be there as a university that in terms of part-time lecturers, interns, research, publications, and here we have our journal, so you can use our journal for the special edition of this particular conference before you have your own, and we can do that, and that can even start our partnerships, and then attachments. So many successes through these people, and therefore the specifics of what we have done are many, but just to mention breeding, we have 109 crop varieties out there, and what we can now talk about is the 3 varieties of BT cotton, which we are now commercializing, and the machinery I've talked about. We have protocols in our biotech lab. We have formulations for feeds, and we have our gene bank where we conserve materials for embryo, for semen, in conjunction with CAGRIC, many other achievements. We have a vaccine out there for the Newcastle disease. We have conducted economic studies, both academic and with the projects. And then we have been trained out there. Then, as I said, we have 10 dynamic databases. ICT, you can reap on this. And if we have 3.3 hits on our KALRO website, it tells you that we are doing a good job, isn't it? So those are some of the products. So Tharaka, where are we? I saw these objectives on your website. And I saw this from the Directorate of Research, Extension and Publications. I just lifted and pasted here. And these are the partners. Compare the partners I showed you and the partners you have. You can reach there, because even as we started with the ministry only. So we are somewhere now. And therefore you move away from just looking at your colleagues in the education sector and look beyond, because what we are doing is not just for academics, because we are generating technologies with many other places. So when will Tharaka become a friend to KALRO? And you watch us on this. Thank you. I hope I wasn't boring. No problem. This place is hot. No, it's okay. It's okay, I'll manage.
Thank you, Daktari, for your presentation.
Yes.
I'm relating to Roge in computer science. In our research, mostly we are relying on data sets from maybe Google, KAGRO, and so on. Personally, I'm dealing with plants and diseases. Sorry, personally, I'm dealing with diseases affecting plants locally.
Yeah.
And most of the data which you're getting from Google. Can we be able to get that data set from KALRO?
Yes, we have about 10 databases that have the papers published from refereed journals. So all you need to do is you pay us a visit. But there are others which you just find on our website. That's why I shared the website. Some you can download. Yeah. Otherwise, even me when I was young and as a student, if you have a lot of Google, Prof atakufurusha na hiyo paper yako. So you have to get from refereed journals, isn't it? Or those proceedings that are quality like this one. Yes. Yeah.
My name is Rwanda Alex. Thank you, Daktari, for your presentation. I have something on GMO food. Recently, the government allowed the introduction of GMO food in the country about the crisis on food practice and production. Now, what is KALRO's take on the same? What changed from the previous ban, which has now been so that now the food can be allowed in Canada?
Yeah, with other partners in the US and in Europe, KALRO was part of the team that developed the cotton varieties, the GMO. And for breeding, if you understand the aspects of breeding, you've introduced what we are calling a foreign gene from the bacterium, isn't it? Just to bring that aspect of resistance to the bollworm. So we are okay with that as a product. And what we have failed to do is the dissemination of the information, the right information on the GMO. How do we package the information in a layman's language so that the person getting that information can understand easily, other than going into the technical of, you see, this is a gene introduced on the DNA, and this particular gene inserted is only for this, you know. And yet someone out there taking advantage of our poor packaging of the information to go out to the layperson is with this competition. If it is going to displace me from the market, like for example, if I have a chemical that this one will take, I will not spray, I'll look for a way of fighting you, isn't it? So the technology is fine. The information that we are putting out there is not packaged properly. And therefore, we needed the goodwill of the government. The political goodwill was lacking. So now we have the political goodwill, then we are able to release it, and we are proud to be associated with the technology. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Dakar. I'm a scholar in linguistics at Kiswahili. I'm also an expecting graduate in PhD from Dhaka University at Lamu Secondary. These are my students in Kiswahili. When they did speak Kiswahili when they were introducing themselves. Now, as a linguist, I want them to be encouraged on how they can contribute in the field of food security, because we in social sciences, we sometimes tend to see as if we don't have any, we cannot contribute anything to the world of research, particularly in the area of food. So how can we partner as scholars in linguistics?
No, that is a very valid comment, by the way. We have packaging of information. And as CALRO, we realized that gap. And we said that we are now going to have the information packaged in different languages, Kiswahili being one of them. And look at our Google now. We have a Kiswahili version, isn't it? So anyone can access information depending on which language you want, and Kiswahili has been honored to be there. When you look at the pamphlets, the leaflets that we publish, we have them in Kiswahili and English. Then when you look at some of the apps that we have developed, which if you came to CALRO headquarters at our reception, you'll be watching some of the technologies that we have captured on video. Some of them are explained in Swahili, yeah, for others. Others, it's in English. Then I went to Morogoro one time, and I was making a presentation, and I was requested to translate in Swahili. As I project a slide, I was expected to make a comment. I was supposed to say it in Swahili. And when I finished the sentence, nobody understood what I had said. And yet, according to me, that was Kiswahili. So we are improving every day, and nobody's left out. And therefore, it is up to you to have a stake in the production of these technologies, especially on matters publication, so that it comes out in the right Swahili for the intended stakeholder in the agriculture or whatever system we are. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. But I can try Swahili too, you're only in Kenya. Yes, please.
Okay, my name is Anton Washira. I teach physics. And recently, when President was bragging of food, ready food, to go to the dry areas, he said that it's like kind of a shame to the government being independent for almost 60 years, and we're still bragging of ready food. And he said that this is the last time we are doing that. and which means that the government intends to have some kind of permanent solution to see Kenyans that, and you find that almost 2/3 of Kenya is dry.
Yes.
So I don't know whether the role of Karo in that how you can assist the government in that area. Which and I think also another challenge, despite the place being dry, we also have the culture of pastoralism, which is actually maybe bringing such problems of food insecurity to those areas. Yeah. So what is the role of Karo in that?
Yeah, that's why I said let's read the plan. The plan and the Vision 2030 are very related. You can't do anything outside Vision 2030. So whichever government comes in place has to respect the 2030, the Vision 2030. And therefore the plan also is well aligned to the Vision 2030. Now, in that aspect, then we are encouraged to develop the climate smart research. That's what we need to undertake as KALRO, because that is our core mandate. And that one goes beyond the field research. It also goes to even ICT. And that's why we are involving now we are looking for partners in terms of the artificial intelligence. We are looking at these guys who have these drones and develop them specific for us and the different apps. And I didn't mention that we also have an app that if you install on your phone now, you'll know the amount of rain that if it was yesterday and you just checked Marimandi, you'll get the amount of rainfall we were expecting up to this morning, the weather that the temperatures, the humidity, the soil types where we are, the kind of crops you can grow here, and the kind of fertilizer you can use. That one is already in circulation. It is the Kenya agricultural key. I'll look for it, I'll share. So we are already working towards that. Then we now have, we are trying to establish through the Ministry of Agriculture the linkages between the different counties on the availability of food, the type, the quantities. So that dashboard gives the PS an opportunity to know what we have in which store, which can now be moved to another silo for storage, something like that. So we are already there, but again, we have continued undertaking research on shortening the maturity of our crop, bringing in the hardy crops for the ASALs. The animals, we have the Sahiwal that we are promoting as KALRO, so that we are breeding with the local brands to produce those hybrids that are resistant, but at the same time improving on the meat and the milk production of these animals. We are also looking at introducing other breeds of goats, and we have the embryo transfer technology. We now have it up and Domba. We have that AI facility. Then we have the embryo transfer where we are getting embryos from the US to have surrogates to produce those resistant breeds of animals. So then looking at the natural resource management, again, how best can we use the soil? How can we reclaim our acidic soils? And therefore, how can we work with the fertilizer production companies to be able to get the right fertilizers for the type of soils that we have. But if you have, I have a contribution in physics, then you can share with that. Conservation agriculture. Give us a machine and equipment that can just do the precision planting and fertilization and watering, and we still get the crop in quantities that, or tagging the animals so that we know which animal has what and therefore what we expect. All of us have a contribution to make, but the plan will take you places. Yes.
Thank you. We would wish that whether you are in physics, whether you are in Kiswahili,
Daktari is here for us to even if you want to put a chair there and to give us all what, she will leave this place feeling that we have to link up with her. That's what I want. I tell like me, I'm here to inquire on the value chain kind of engagement. But before that, remember we said we are, these conferences, we have our virtual delegates. I've just been alerted that we have the room there, some items are coming up, some delegates who want to interact with Daktari. So kindly, we can request the ICT.
So there are a couple of questions, like
Yeah.
2 questions on GMO drought.
On?
I'll ask Dr. to read the one from So you have on GMO, 2 questions. Some countries that have allowed GMO products have also put in place regulations to safeguard consumers. In UK, for example, GMO products in groceries are not allowed. Others are allowed products to be clearly labeled so consumers that who are like to know have such regulations be put in place for Kenya. And then he's also asking, what's your take on the GMO products? Then the second question is, majority of Kenyans are facing starvation. What needs to be done for Kenya to be food sufficient with issues of climate change?
Okay, those are the questions. Yeah, so the first question, I think I had answered part of it on GMO. And yes, in Kenya we have the National Biosafety Authority that is tasked to take charge of any materials, whether in research or ready for release. And we are all bound by the Cartagena Convention on GMO. And therefore we have a clear system and the process of researching, introducing, evaluating, and releasing of GMOs. So we have the Biosafety Authority. And with the Biosafety Authority and the Cartagena Convention, we are able to analyze each crop individually. And those ones that have been released and have gone through the process, I know they are good. So I'm okay with those ones that have gone through the process. So they are certified like that, and I believe they are labeled. Yeah. And on starvation, again, as the question from our physics, I think I talked about that in detail, that all efforts are towards ensuring that we don't go begging for food from anywhere. And that is why we want to expand areas under agriculture through irrigation. We want to introduce drought-tolerant varieties. We want to encourage biofortification of our food on our shelves. That is value addition. And we want to bring also diversification of different crops available. So the quantities will come from the large-scale farms and also putting the production under irrigation. So those are key. But now you can go beyond that and talk about how we are blending the different foods so that you don't just look at maize as the only food, but you can have some maize with some sweet potato, the orange flake sweet potato blended. Then you eat chapati from sorghum, soya, and some wheat flour. So that blending, and I think this institution can do a lot of that in the home economics department to bring us several recipes that can contribute to this. Because starvation goes beyond the quantity that you've eaten, but also the quality that goes into your body. Any other question? I think I'm clear. Yes.
When we were young people, there was a lot of cotton.
Yeah.
And sunflower.
Yeah.
In this area. And that is what our parents used to pay fees.
Yes.
But all of a sudden they disappeared. In fact, now you can't find a single farmer who is planting cotton, and even sunflower.
Yeah.
So has this issue worried you where just some varieties of crops just disappear without even introduction? Because we used to harvest very huge quantities, like cotton, 200 bags of cotton. Yes, but just disappear. Has this worried you as Kano?
Yes. Yeah, so thank you, VC, for that. Introduction of varieties and the market, they go together. The production cost of any crop and the sale value will determine if I continue growing it or not. We had the pest, the cotton bollworm, that just made the production of cotton uneconomical. And therefore, the factories that had been set up, the Kikomis of those days, yeah, they didn't have sufficient quantities to continue operating. And that is why we have the alternative of the GMO cotton variety, which should now come back. And I would encourage that people of Tharaka, including this university, if you put aside like 20 acres and you just plant cotton for commercial production, then you can easily enter that value chain and produce for the factories. The negotiation for an external market, that is the AGOAs, we have a share now. So the market is now available for our products. So that means that the varieties that we are encouraging for production, and we have continued doing a lot of research even on the different sunflower varieties, are economically viable for the farmer, because we now want to do farming as a business, not farming because you have a farm. And therefore, looking at all those aspects, then we continue improving on how best to produce these varieties, and that is the value chain approach that I was talking about. We want the wheels of the different nodes of the value chain to move, and therefore, where did we get stuck with cotton? The disease was too much, production cost was too high, it became uneconomical, and therefore farmers switched to something else. Or if there was no alternative, and then now we are in that desperate situation. I have a small example. When I was doing my master's, I was doing on onions. I was looking at the diseases of onions. And I went to this place, this place when going to, how can I forget my site? And there were onions and onions and onions. When I came back 3 years later, I found potatoes and potatoes and potatoes had replaced the onion. Why? The market. They were making more money from selling sweet potatoes than selling onions. So the market has become really key for our farmers to be doing business as farmers. And therefore, all of us, including this university, we should be looking at the way that we are going to follow the value chain from production to marketing and even consumption. Thank you.
What is your view on the Mitumba?
Now you are taking me to a political corner.
Is it related to Africa?
No, it's just a business. That one I reserve my comment. Yes. Anything?
If we promote cotton, don't we need to promote the local textile?
Yeah, you see, what happens is it is very important for you to give me a basket of options. And then the market itself will itajishake tu mpaka mmoja atafollow. So if I have the options to eat rice or chapati or ugali, you serve all of them there, I'll choose. And if I'm consistent not choosing this, then you remove it from your menu, isn't it? So let's have a basket of options from which to derive our livelihoods. And that is very important because competition also makes us do quality work and produce quality things. So if someone is making pilau njeri and then another one is making the quality pilau and we eat the quality one, the pilau njeri person will just follow. So those are just the basic principles in business. Compete, find your niche, and get your own market, and you'll do well. Not everyone is producing, like I saw mangoes along the way. You'll find everyone has mangoes, but nobody has a lorry to transport the mangoes. So now nobody is making the roads for the mangoes to be moved from the rural to a market. And when they reach that market, nobody is even attempting value addition. Everyone is also pangering there to sell the mangoes. So how can we ensure that the value chain is complete up to management of the waste after consumption? Thank you. But we cannot contribute to some of this, especially when they take a political angle. Tunasaidiana. Yes, yes.
I think you are right. In terms of GMO, we are not looking at it objectively. It seems as if it has been taken by the political angle.
Yeah.
Even yourself, you are genetically modified. Your genes are not similar to those of your parents. So it is a process which comes in to try and either improve the production or help us in terms of minimizing on the amount of money we are using in terms of buying herbicides to feed the plants and so on. So I think the way Daktari has said is that we need to package this information well so that we reach the consumers, so that they are at least safe and they know that there's nothing wrong. But I don't see anything wrong with the GMOs. Most of them, they have been tested. There's a body for doing that. They are good for this country. So we cannot continue starving and then at the same time saying that it's GMO, which has never killed anyone. So, but the hunger has killed many of us and so on. So we need to. The other thing is about agriculture in terms of this rain-fed agriculture. This is an area we should move away from. It's so much unreliable. It's causing a lot of losses to the farmers and so on. So I think it is a high time, if we have any small amount of money, let's see how we can invest it in irrigation so that we can be able to be sure that if we plant plants, we are going to have this amount of harvest and so on. That is the only way we will be food secure in this country. Thank you.
Yeah, so the app for determining the climatic conditions around you real time is KAOP.
I shared it with them.
You shared, okay. That platform, yeah, observation. Okay.
They already have it.
Yeah.
But they can still, those who have no access.
Okay. Yeah, so we appreciate the transgenic technologies and also the mutations. Mutations occur out there by deleting part of the gene and it forms into another organism. And they are in the wild mostly, but we can also try them in our labs to produce a mutant. Yeah. But transgenic is a deliberate effort, and we know what we are introducing. And we are fine with that. 20 years ago, the Cartagena Protocol was passed, and it has worked well. And many, many countries have embraced the GMO. Now, the other thing that maybe I just wish to comment is, if I use the technology to introduce a gene in a low-yielding variety, but controlling a disease, doesn't make that variety superior to what we have in terms of yield. So we have to be very careful on at what stage we are introducing the gene and what aspects the traits that that particular gene carries. Because I've seen some of those discussions where the gene introduced was for resistance, but it was not for high yield, and they didn't continue growing the cotton, I think somewhere in West Africa. Not because the GMO should be big, the way my daughter keeps saying at Mami nakula GMO maize, because it is a big, yeah? But it is because of the trait that we are looking for and what we want to promote at that particular point in time. So, thank you. Okay. Yes.
Okay, do you have an individual representing the media department representing Sweden?
We have a communications department where we have employed staff from media colleges. So wanaongeanga tu Kiswahili ile poa. And if we need someone from another dialect, then they come in on request. But the communication department will sort you on that. Yeah.
Director Research. Mr. Smith.
No, I think
okay, Mr. Smith, you wanted to say something?
No, I think I'm fine. I've been following and I've already been answered.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, so we are still best I see, and we are still on. Kakari is with us here. Let us once more appreciate the very big 3 class. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and I look forward to...
Yes, thank you so much. I was also, as we were doing this discussion, CARO is a special organization for us. For us as a university, I think the organization requires to link up with the university. Actually, it's a critical area because check the trend of agriculture and the way we are doing in the universities. The area of agriculture is there. When we are having the students, how many will get to the area of agriculture? We have few students selecting agriculture. So I don't know whether it's something for CARO also to, I don't know what can be done. Because students are running away from this area, yet we are starting. The brains that can bring up this research, the young brains, the students don't want to do agriculture. And now we are starting. I was also looking at studies, the study, in my own way. If in every county we have proper studies, so some counties will have enough, like now it's raining, they'll have surplus. After that, there is staffing in the country. Proper studies, maybe in every county like that, or studies is an important area. So those are things to think about. We did not give the expectations, but again, in my own way, let me tell you what is behind here, my brain. We have to link with the CARO. Dr. Margaret, in our own ways, we've been given the ways, the steps. But are you ready that we work together with the CARO, this team? Are you ready for that? So be thinking of, you see, you have to follow the steps. We have to come up with the rest we've been told, isn't it? So all of us, whether you are in languages, you are in history, you are in what, let's be thinking of this. We shall be guided by our listening until we are up to that. So we are so grateful, Dr. We are so humble for we got to take the introduction, the many things that you do, and you are accepted to come. Actually, our conference, we've been learning a lot. Last one, the last last year we earned the director on a post, and that's how we were able to get to, now we are developing our ethics committees. So we are moving on, the STI and so forth. So this conference is very important, and we would want to encourage members of staff to participate so that we can get. Okay, sorry, we are even finishing. So at this juncture, you are all okay with the engagement, because we want to move to another bit of it from the program director. Yes, but before tea, we really want to appreciate our management and our keynote speaker, so that we can feel motivated together. We really want to appreciate, so organize something there. We have our VC here, we have our keynote speaker, we have the management. We want to appreciate with a small gift, and we continue like that. But the carrier is still with us. We have many things to do. So, yes, like that. So I would request our VC to come up, and maybe Professor Musabe, you can assist us appreciate our VC to this juncture. That we don't walk out from this room like that as we go to take tea. Then you can give me this one. I appreciate our keynote speaker, Dr. Let's follow like that. Oh, sorry, sorry. We clap. Then our registrar academic affairs. Then the director, you can appreciate. We clap. We also have the finance. Oh, the district, yes, welcome. You can do this. Oh, Dr. Munani, yes. If you are moving on with the finance, Mr. Musabe is around.
Oh, you can be given afterwards.
Yeah, you can be given afterwards. Okay. We are so grateful for that. So now we can have the photo up here, so that we shall be going to the second phase. So before we work, maybe we can ask somebody to say, I want a prayer for the cup of tea and the rest of it, like that. You can even stand up.
Let's pray. Mighty and everlasting Father, we want to thank you because of this morning. We want to bless you, we want to worship you. You've been so gracious to us, Jehovah God, from the start of this day up to now. We've heard you, Jehovah God. You've blessed the hearts. You've spoken to us. We want to thank you because of our keynote speaker of today. Lord, you've used her to speak to our hearts, to speak to our minds. Father, we bless you. We want to thank you because of the PC, the deputy PCs who are present, and all the deans and the directors who are present. Father, we want to ask that as we continue the conference from today up to tomorrow, we ask for your presence, Jehovah God. We ask for good health. We ask for your guidance, and all honor and glory shall return unto you, my Father. Father, as we take our tea after this, we pray that you may bless it. Father, may your grace be sufficient in all that we do, so that honor and glory returns unto you. We worship you and we bless you. For we pray with thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Amen.
So we can, with our VC and one out here for the photo.
Hukulala?
Mimi nilipigiwa simu jana jioni kutoka Nairobi. Fika hapa asubuhi.
Tafuta chai waambie wakuwekee nyingine baadaye ama no.
Ndio